That hideous metal eyesore is a lawsuit waiting to happen, and you'll remove it by Friday, or we will." The voice was sharp, laced with that fake politeness that grated on my nerves like sandpaper. It belonged to Brenda Wilkins, the president of the Oakwood Meadows Homeowners Association. She stood there on the edge of my driveway, hands planted firmly on her hips, her brightly patterned dress clashing with the earthy tones of my ranch. Her face was a picture of smug outrage, like she was scolding a wayward child instead of a grown man on his own land. I was in the middle of welding the last brace on my new cattle guard, the sharp scent of hot metal still thick in the warm Texas air. I flipped up my welding mask and gave the sturdy grid a solid kick with my boot. It didn't budge, solid as a rock, just like it needed to be. "Ma'am," I said evenly, drawing on the comm I'd honed over 2 decades in the Army Corps of Engineers. "This is a cattle guard. It's here to keep my cows from straying onto the county road." Brenda let out a scoff that sounded like a deflating balloon. "I don't care if it's a gateway to heaven. It's an ugly, unsafe addition to a shared access area, and our rules are crystal clear. Section 7, subsection B. All changes to common areas need approval from the Architectural Committee." You didn't get it. She jabbed a finger at the clipboard held by her sidekick, Larry, who nodded like a bobblehead. This wasn't just about a piece of steel. It was an assault on everything I'd built. If you've ever had someone march onto your property and dictate terms with nothing but a binder full of nonsense backing them up, you know the fire it lights in your gut. But I held my tongue, knowing this was the start of something bigger. "My name's John Harlan. Folks call me Jack. And after years of deployment from dusty bases in Iraq to flood zones in Florida, my wife Emily and I wanted roots. We found them on a 100-acre spread of rolling hills and ancient oaks just outside a growing Dallas suburb. It was an old ranch, steeped in history, bordering the shiny new Oakwood Meadows with its cookie-cutter homes and perfectly trimmed lawns. Our access road was an ancient easement cutting through their corner, a gravel path recorded way back before their neighborhood was even a blueprint. Our lawyer had been up front. The easement was ironclad, perpetual from 1928. We spent our first year fixing up the old house, mending fences, and planting a garden that burst with veggies. I started with a small herd of Angus cows, tough and reliable, the foundation of my retirement dream. But that easement became a headache. Kids from a subdivision treating it like a party spot, leaving trash everywhere. Worse, a simple gate wasn't enough. One forgetful driver, and my cows could end up in their backyards or on the highway. A cattle guard was the fix. Vehicles roll right over, but livestock won't cross the bars. I designed it myself, using quality steel, and poured the concrete deep. To me, it was practical beauty. To Brenda, it was an invasion of her perfect world. "Friday," she hissed, leaning in like a threat. "Or we'll call in contractors, and you'll foot the bill plus a $1,000 fine." I just stared, my silence fueling her fury. "Do you hear me, Mr. Harlan?" I lower my mask. "I hear you trespassing. You've got 5 seconds before I call the sheriff." I sparked the torch, the flames roar sending her and Larry scrambling back like startled rabbits. But I knew this skirmish was just the opening salvo. 2 days later, a letter was taped to the guard itself. Fines mounting, threats of liens, and foreclosure. Rage simmered in me, cold and focused. They saw a quiet rancher. They missed the major who'd navigated Pentagon red tape and stared down real threats. Emily read it over my shoulder, her hand squeezing my arm. "Jack, can they really do this?" "They could try," I said, "but they're wrong on the law." That night, I turned my office into a war room, poring over deeds and surveys. The easement was from 1928, 77 years before their HOA in 2005. My pulse quickened. I called Michael Lee, a JAG buddy from our Iraq days, now a sharp property lawyer in Houston. Mike got an HOA breathing down my neck. He chuckled. "Jack, these are my favorites. Like swatting angry wasps." "Spill it." I laid out the details. 1928 easement? That's gold, he said. Their rules can't override a prior recorded right. But we needed the original deed. Next morning, I hit the county records office, a musty building full of forgotten history. Digging through indexes, I found Volume 12, page 45, April 17th, 1928, from Ezekiel Grant to a cattle outfit. And there it was, the clause granting perpetual access, including the right to construct and maintain fences, gates, and cattle guard for livestock management. It was a bombshell. I got a certified copy, feeling a link to that old rancher who'd safeguarded his land. Mike's email back, checkmate. They're toast. He drafted a response. Factual, polite, dismantling their claims with the deed attached. He CC'd their title insurer, hinting at big liabilities. I delivered it personally to Brenda's pristine house. She snatched it, tore it open, her face twisting from smug to furious. This changes nothing. Our standards trump some old paper. She crumpled it and slammed the door. Her arrogance sealed it. A week later, another letter. Fines at $1,700, a lien filed. Fraudulent, Mike said. She's bullying, but we've got proof she knew better. Then she went public. A Facebook post in their group painted my guard as a kid-endangering monstrosity. But it backfired. Walter Jenkins, an old-timer whose family farmed nearby, chimed in. That easement's for cattle since my grandpa's day. A guard's responsible, not hazardous. His words shifted opinions. Whispers of support grew. Tom, a tech guy fined for his trash cans, messaged me. We're fed up. She's a tyrant. We circulated facts. The 1928 deed, our peace offers. Rebellion brewed. Mike spotted their board minutes approving demolition funds. Let them come, he said. It'll make it criminal. I rigged cameras everywhere, briefed the sheriff's sergeant with docs. Pre-existing easement? She can't touch it, he noted. Next day, a demolition truck rolled up. I met them calmly, phone recording. This is legal. Here's proof. They hesitated, called Brenda. She arrived screeching, ordering them on. I represent the law here. Our covenants override everything. Her rant was pure gold on tape. As I grabbed chains, I dialed 911. Sirens wailed. Deputies arrived, informed from my briefing. Deputy Hayes addressed me first. Mr. Harlan? Then to Brenda. Ma'am, this is trespass. ID, please. Her bluster crumbled. Contractors bailed. I pressed charges for trespass and conspiracy. She left cited, defeated. Mike filed for an injunction, granted swiftly, judge blasting their fraudulent lien and criminal overreach. Discovery unearthed horrors. Emails showing Brenda's malice, denying a wheelchair ramp for aesthetics, selective fines. 1. Project strength, he'll back down. Damning. The HOA meeting exploded, packed room, grievances pouring out. Walter thundered. She's replaced decency with tyranny. Mike read her email aloud. Gasps echoed. Vote. No confidence. 90% yes. Brenda ousted. Patricia elected interim. They settled. Fees paid. Apology. $5,000 to veterans charity. Peace returned. The board reformed, even consulting me on rules. Emily and I watched our herd cross the guard at sunset, untouched, triumphant. It stood as proof. Truth and law prevail over bullies. What do you think? Have you faced injustice or overreach like this? Share in the comments, especially on themes of power abuse and standing up. What's your stance? Let's discuss.